Hi guys, it is, let's see, so close to November, which is totally mad. And I have to say that we've only had like a little bit of the weather feeling a bit Halloweeny. I had a really super misty morning in London this week, but it's also been a little bit humid, a little bit sweaty still, again getting up to like 16 degrees, occasionally 17 degrees. So I haven't really properly been breaking into my autumn winters yet. Like, not, I haven't worn anything, I don't think, from my autumn winter little cube. But yeah, so anyway, I'll start with one that I mean, I could wear this pretty much any time of the year. I'll be quick on this one because it's just been discontinued, which is ridiculous. Um, I wore my Eau D'Orient because I wanted something kind of cozy but not too heavy. This is from Rituals. Eau D'Orient, beautiful, beautiful bottle and a beautiful. I mean, it looks so dark here. Let me just see if this will lighten up a bit. Eau D'Orient, the only notes they give you here are oriental notes, incense, pepper, and woodsy notes. But this is really sweet. And it's not a vanillic sweetness, and there's nothing here that would explain the sweetness. And I don't feel like it's like particularly like an ambery sweetness, if you see what I mean. It's more like there's something like tonka in here. And because the texture of this reminds me quite a lot of things like Scarlet Poppy or Stash Unspoken, I feel like it does have that tonka sweetness in there, or like a coumarin sweetness, if you see what I mean. It's a bit spicy, it's a bit smoky, it has an aura of something like Baby Cat but without the vanilla. In fact, weirdly, like this kind of smells like some of the dupes I've smelt of Baby Cat that haven't quite managed to match the vanillic note in that perfume. But yeah, I really like this, but eBay is probably the only place you'll find it now. But yeah, really lovely, beautiful perfume. And then at the weekend, I wanted, because I think it was quite warm again, and I wanted to wear one of my Mon Guerlains. I hope you enjoyed my video I just did. I am planning to list the sensual one from sensual from that video on eBay when I get a moment. But yeah, I was in the mood, but because it was quite warm, but not like summery, I went for my sparkling bouquet. I love this perfume. This is probably my second favourite when I'm wearing it. It's one that from the bottle I'm like, that's all right. It has that slight kind of apothecary lavender smell that you get in most of the Mon Guerlains. So when I sniff it from the bottle, I'm like, it's nice. But when I wear it, it smells so delicious. It is a light, less vanillic version of Mon Guerlain with a very heavy sweet pear note. And it's just so delicious. I love this perfume. When I was wearing it, I just couldn't get enough of myself. I just thought I smelled so scrumptious. So this is pear, bergamot and mandarin orange in the top. The mid notes are lavender, peony and jasmine sambac. Base notes, Tahitian vanilla, white musk and sandalwood. Yeah, I mean, I've already spoken about it quite a lot, but I mean, I love it and I'm so happy to wear it. I mean, you could really wear this any time of the year. But because I have the creamier and sweeter versions of Mon Guerlain as well, those are the ones I'll be wearing when it actually starts to get cold. But anyway, delicious. And then you might have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen, because I put a little picture of this. I tried this again because it was slightly colder weather and I was literally wearing like a kind of pale green dress and I thought, oh, I might try this because it smells pale green to me. This is this is the bottle I got on eBay for £10. Someone was selling it. It's a bit over half left of a 50 ml bottle, so I'd say there's maybe about, even after me using it now, just under 30 ml probably left of it. So this is the one that the struggle I have with it is kind of sweeter and smells a bit thicker and doesn't feel summery to me, and everyone I've seen talk about it seems to love it in summer, but to me it smells like an autumnal candle. And it definitely was a little bit less cloying and candle-like when I wore it this time round, but it still has a little bit of that tone. And I was like, I was kind of enjoying it, but I definitely I wore this at the weekend and I'm like, I don't think that this is a round the house perfume for me. I think this is a out of the house formal, well, not formal, but slightly formal occasion perfume, because it smells ladylike, and I'm not even sure sophisticated is quite the word I'm looking for. It smells feminine but a little bit grown up, while also being quite like a classic fruity floral, and like I said, smelling a bit like a candle. It's really hard to describe this perfume. Like, I find it very hard to describe how it makes me feel, but let's say this. If I was going to a birthday party for my husband's family, if there were going to be people there that I didn't know particularly well, and I wanted to be kind of, the word I'm going to come say here sounds to say gracious, you know, I wanted to smell good, but I wanted to smell not too overwhelming and well put together. This is the kind of perfume that I would reach for. I do actually find that for a lot of perfumes that have lilac in, but yeah, I feel like this is something you would wear to a family event, or maybe even a wedding. It has that feel to me. So it's going to stay in my collection for now, but it's not a love for me, but it also kind of feels like it has a place for like certain special occasions. Like, I know what dress I would wear with this, if you see what I mean. I know that if I was wearing a kind of fitted floral midi dress that was kind of smart, then this is what I would go for, if that makes sense. So I haven't given you the notes. It's Granny Smith apple in the top, and you can really smell that green apple. Ylang Ylang and pink tulip. Lilac, lily of the valley, iris, orchid and rose in the mid. Base notes are musk, heliotrope, sandalwood, amber and Virginia cedar. And there is something about this that smells spicy to me. It smells like there's cinnamon or, you know, some kind of Christmassy spice mixed in with apple and florals, and that is why it reminds me of a Christmas candle, but like a non-gourmand Christmas candle, like an apple Christmas candle. Anyway, next. Oh, she's a beaut. I was near someone on the tube who smelt like a beautiful kind of comforting musk. So the next day I was like, I'm going to break out my newest comforting musk. Oh, so lovely. And it's called A Lovely Summer. So I wore A Lovely Summer by Sarah Jessica Parker, and I mean, it's such a pretty perfume. It does not smell like summer to me. It smells very much like a yummy, warm, spicy golden musk. Apparently this is like super expensive in the USA. It's like so affordable here. You can get at the moment a 100ml bottle like this in the UK for like £20. So it's really weird. Because obviously she's not a British celebrity, so I would have imagined that you could get these in the US. But I mean, if you can find these on UK sites, it's probably cheaper to buy it from the UK and have it shipped all the way over to the US than it is to actually buy it in the US at the moment, which is mad. But anyway, yeah, if you can get this, if you can get it for an affordable price, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing. I'm not sure it's worth like 60 odd pounds, because you can find other delicious musks, slightly spicy musks. You could just get Jovan musk or something like that, you know, for a tenner. But this is very, very nice to wear. It's really cozy and warm. I'd get wafts. This is, I oversprayed this because this is quite a light feeling perfume, but be warned, if you just spray lots, then it smells great. If you if you spray yourself in the same place a couple of times, it gets very strong. It gets slightly overwhelming and musky, and exactly like things like Jovan musk. If you really layer up Jovan musk, that gets so overwhelming and strong. This is, I think, supposed to be a good skin musk. It's supposed to be a skin scent. So yeah, wherever I sprayed it, where it kind of touched twice, it got quite strong. So I was like, okay, next time I wear this, I can probably go a little bit easier with it. And it really didn't need to be resprayed. So it lasted all day on me, this one, and on my clothes. So it, again, not strong, but really pretty. This is a really good alternative to things like Amber Musk from Erin. And it doesn't smell the same as Missing Persons. That's more of a lotiony musk, but it's just, it's in that kind of realm of smelling like a delicious skin scenty musk. So this is musk, cardamom, ambrette and bergamot in the top, mid notes of frangipani, white blossom and spices in the mid, base notes skin, sandalwood and amber. I can definitely smell some florals, but I wouldn't really be able to tell you what they were. I think the frangipani was voted as being quite high, but I'm not sure that I recognise it as such, if you see what I mean. Very musky. So the musk being in the top makes total sense. And the skin, it smells like a skin musk. I definitely get sandalwood, I definitely get amber, and there is a fluffiness that's probably from that ambrette. But you can definitely smell the cardamom and the spices, I would say. I mean, this is, wearing it, it's actually spicy enough for me to be like, it doesn't smell like Obsession from Calvin Klein, but I feel like it has similar spices to something like Obsession by Calvin Klein, if that makes sense. So yeah, gorgeous and lovely, and a lovely autumn would have been a better name for this, because it really just was so comforting and pretty, and I really enjoyed wearing it. I wore it to work. And then I wore another musk. I'll pull it out. And there are definitely crossovers with these two. So this, I can't even remember where I wore when I wore this, but I actually wore the Skin Musk cologne spray. I normally wear the oil, but I just fancied the cologne spray because it's slightly more sugary and sweet, and it's a little bit more rosy. It's got, my husband thinks this smells a bit like Turkish Delight. It's like that. And I would say that these two definitely have a crossover, and I know that Sarah Jessica Parker used to wear Skin Musk. She's talked about it quite a lot. So this to me smells like a very spicy interpretation of a cross between this one, which is Parfum de Coeur, used to be Bonnie Bell, Skin Musk, and Coty Wild Musk. This is so pretty. This is comforting and like a wear outside the house happily. This is comforting like a proper blanket around me. Love wearing it around the house. Cannot get enough of myself and how I smell. I love it. The oil is my absolute favourite. Like if I could only have one perfume, I'd probably keep Skin Musk oil. But this is also really yummy to spray on, and it's not the longest lasting, but it's super pretty. This just says musk, sandalwood and floral notes, but there's definitely vanilla in this one, and I'd say there's quite a lot of rose. I think there's probably ylang ylang, probably some jasmine. It's not as ambery as this one and as wild musk, I'd say, and I don't really particularly enjoy amber, so when I say ambery, not compared to some ambers, but like for me, I think I'm going to have to move things around a bit here because I've got, yeah, otherwise I'm not going to have enough space for things. So that one I'm going to put down here, and then I'm going to put you up here. There we go. Oh, I'm going to have to put you at a weird angle, aren't we, guys? All right. So anyway, it was very musky this week and I loved it. Absolutely delicious. So let's move on to a completely different style of musk, because these are both very warm feeling musks. This is something that feels literally cold to me. Oh my goodness. If I spray this out, my room's going to spray the smell of it for ages. Whew. It's so strong. It is so strong. Oh my God. I've seen someone, I can't remember who it was now, but I've seen someone saying that this doesn't last and wasn't very strong. And I'm like, wow, did you get like a dud bottle? Because Lanvin's Oxygene, see, I can taste it. It's so strong. Beautiful blue liquid, fantastic kind of pearlescent plastic top with this cool blue sprayer. One of the early aquatics, even though this is also an early lactonic perfume. It looks like I've barely touched this, but you can see there's quite a lot of bottle underneath. So I've got a bit of a dent in this one, but it's kind of hard to see it because it's like, anyway, yeah, you can see it goes right up the top. Gorgeous, beautiful, creamy, irisy, spa smelling kind of perfume. it's so powerful. Like, when I can't wear this in warm weather. I can only wear it on cold days. I can only wear it in autumn, winter. It's just, it's like, it's so weird that it smells so spa-like while also kind of smelling slightly thick to me. And it is just such a creamy musk. It's the same kind of musk that you get in things like Noah and Pure Poison. You know, it's got this like thick, bar soapy, yummy musk. I mean, in Pure Poison, again, that's starting to push towards like a lotion. This one just stands back from turning into like a body lotion kind of thing, but it is that kind of texture to me. This is Indian white pepper and bergamot in the top. Middle notes of milk, gardenia and rose. Base notes musk, iris and white sandalwood. So I feel like, oh, actually that reminds me, because it's got that musk and gardenia. The other thing that this has similarities with, even though I wouldn't say it necessarily smells like it, but texture-wise and the vibe, it's like a spa-like equivalent of something like Crystal Noir from Versace. So it has this creamy gardenia. It's got a very bar soapy musk. It's got a lovely creamy sandalwood. And then it's got this powdery, cold smelling iris. The milk genuinely smells to me like ice cold milk with a huge heaped full of like white sugar mixed in, because this is sweet with no explanation. The same that Eau D'Orient is sweet with no explanation of why. You definitely get the white pepper, which doesn't bother me and I think is delicious. But this one, once this goes off, it gets really peppery. I've smelt a bottle that's like totally gone off and has turned green and it smells super peppery. This doesn't smell super peppery, and this was a fresh bottle. And you do get a bit of that bergamot in the top. I can't really sense lots of rose here, but it's just, it's strong. You don't need loads of it. It's got a huge scent bubble and a huge sillage. And I've walked around the Co-op before when someone was wearing this, and I recognised it immediately. And it was so strong, I could literally smell where she'd been in the shop. And I was like, nice, she's wearing Oxygen. But it was quite warm weather, so I thought it was brave, because it's quite strong to me. But yeah, this is my husband. Oh, my husband said I smelled delicious when I was wearing this. And he always compliments me when I put this on. And I always say to him, Oxygen. And he goes, because he knows it. I got him to try it on once because it smells quite like unisex to me. And he smells delicious in it as well. And I could smell everywhere he'd been in the flat every time he'd been there. It's just such a amazing. It's one of my best value affordable perfumes, because I got this for about 20 quid for this. I think it's I don't actually, maybe these aren't 100ml. They might be like an 80ml bottle or something like that, the biggest size. But I mean, look how cool this bottle is. It takes up a fair bit of space if you've got it in the display, which I have because I love this bottle. But yeah, I mean, beautiful colours, matching colours. This one's warm, this one's cold. I just think they're fantastic. But this, yeah, if I ever do like my best value cheapies, this is going to be like top of that list. Noah's going to have to be in there as well, realistically, isn't it? All right, and then we had, I've done 3 lavenders again this this week. Okay, so this guy. This is, I mean, I don't need to tell you that Burberry Goddess is nice, because everyone thinks, most people think Burberry Goddess is nice. Interestingly, some of the people who didn't like this original Burberry Goddess quite like the Burberry Goddess Intense that most reviewers I've seen on YouTube are like, ew, gross, I don't like it. I really like the Intense version as well. But this is one of those weird ones that when same as Sparkling Bouquet, when I sniff this from the bottle, I'm like, that's all right. And then when I actually wear it, oh my God, it smells so delicious. The more it dries down, the more beautiful this gets. But I stand by what I said when I tested the Intense, which is that I feel like the note that I found confusing, because the notes listed for this are vanilla, lavender, cacao and ginger in the top, then vanilla caviar in the mid, and vanilla absolute in the base, right? There is something in here that's definitely fruity. I'm absolutely sure there's a fruit in here. I think it could easily be pear, because it has a slight crossover scent with Burberry Brit. and that's pear, vanilla, and lime. And almond, obviously, but I can't wait to wear that one. I literally can't wait for it to get cold enough for me to break that beast out. But there was always something right from the very first time I smelt it that I mean, I could almost say it was bothering me, but it was sort of bothering me because I was trying to work out what the hell it was. And every time I wore it, and every time I reviewed it, and every time I talked about it, I was like, oh, the ginger, it must be the ginger. There's like this earthy smell in here that isn't really explained, that maybe it's like the skin of the ginger, you know, and maybe the fruitiness is from the juice of the ginger. But I'm absolutely sure there's actually a fruit in here. And I also am sure that there's patchouli in this. Because when I smelt the intense, it's the same note in that that's really strong that I get a little hint of in here. And it is a very earthy patchouli. It's like a kind of, but not muddy smelling, but earthy smelling. In the same way that, because I don't really like most patchoulis, but I like the intense version because I like patchouli without loads of fruit and flowers, if you see what I mean. So the intense one doesn't smell quite as fruity to me. But it's like, it's got more lavender and more of that patchouli smell. So it's kind of moving into the realm of something like Lord of Misrule from Lush, which is a patchouli, black pepper and lavender perfume. There's no fruits to mess it up. There's no florals to make it sickly. It's just perfection. And this, to me, it really has just a hint of that earthy patchouli. I'm totally sure of it. I reckon the two perfumes have exactly the same notes, but they are just like, if you were to look at, rather than what they tell you, what's actually in it, I feel like they've got the same notes. It's just that the intense version has such an amped up lavender and patchouli that the vanilla is no longer the main star, whereas in here the lavender is the main star. The vanilla, sorry, is the main star, and the rest of those notes are a little bit toned down. But yeah, I mean, this is gorgeous. It's so fun to wear. And I just have to point out, because this looks like I've hardly touched it, but that's because I have this 10 ml, this 10 ml pen spray. And as you can see, like, I've gone through half of this one already. So I've already gone through like 5 ml of the pen spray. This is the one I take to work. You do need to respray this, but I don't, actually, that's not true. It's not that I need to respray this all the time. I can still smell it on me. It's just relatively subtle. It's a small scent bubble with this one. Although I'm sure I've smelt people in London wearing this and I can smell it when they walk past me. But it's like, it's not overwhelming the way that so many perfumes are overwhelming to me nowadays because of the aroma chemicals. This one, I just want to respray it all the time because I love it. I think it's delicious. I would really like a pen spray, at least, of the intense version for winter, because I do feel like the kind of earthiness of that is going to be really nice for colder weather. But I haven't seen any affordable like pen sprays of this yet, and I haven't seen any 10 ml decants, so I'm keeping my eye out, because someone on eBay had the refill bottle of Burberry Goddess, and then they just were selling these 10 ml decants for under £20. I think it was maybe about £14.99 or something. And that's what I would like, because I don't want to spend 30 whole pounds on a 10 ml pen spray Burberry. Such a rip-off. I am starting to see the 30 ml bottles of the Intense for around 45, so we'll see. Maybe for my birthday in January, when it's going to probably be horribly cold, I might decide to get the brother of this one. And I'm saying brother because I think it is ever so slightly less feminine, just because there's more lavender and more patchouli, but this is very feminine. It's very girly. It's such a good one. Burberry, when they do a good perfume, absolutely knock it out of the park, I'd say. And then, speaking of something that's a bit more masculine, this is very unisex to me, but my God, it's cozy. It's very sweet. It's such a squeaky lid, but I always want to put it on the right way around because it has the little JE on the top. This is Eisenberg. This is J'ose. Let's try and get it so you can actually read it. So J'ose is another lavender perfume, and it's got wild notes in this perfume. It has a texture very similar to Eau D'Orient. It's like this slightly powdery, cozy, again, this kind of tonkery, yummy sweetness going on, but with a really specific texture. So this is mint, amalfi lemon, jasmine and bergamot in the top notes. Middle notes are lavender, coffee and artemisia, which I think is wormwood. Base notes, amber, sandalwood, patchouli, musk, vanilla, tonka bean and moss. I get coffee. I don't get huge amounts of mint. I feel like when you first spray it, you get a bit more of the kind of mint and lemon but I do get a hint of like a milky coffee, very subtle milky coffee, lavender, and then a beautiful sandalwood, a lovely mixture of tonka and vanilla, a slight muskiness. I don't get a huge amount of the moss and the patchouli in here, but it's so pretty. This is what I was expecting Coffee Break to smell like. This kind of thing is kind of more what I was expecting from Coffee Break. And I just think it's so cozy and comforting. Again, it feels like I've just put on a fluffy jumper, like a lovely, yummy, fluffy jumper. But the one I smelt, is it Carolina Herrera? She's got I think it's Carolina Herrera, her fancy line, and there's a perfume called Amethyst Haze. I'm actually going to look it up now. So I got sent a sample of, actually from a dupe house. I think I was sent a sample of Amethyst Haze of their dupe, and so I went and had a sniff in Selfridges as well. And Amethyst Haze is so similar to this. It's like nearly £300 a bottle for what, from what I've seen in the UK for that perfume. But yeah, I mean, it smells so much like it. I was like, yeah, it is Carolina Herrera. There it is. So let me have a look at these notes, because I feel like I'm going to see coffee and lavender, and it's going to, yeah, there you go. So it's cardamom, pink pepper in the top, lavender and coffee in the mid, cashmere wood, bourbon vanilla and patchouli in the base. So I managed to get this for really cheap on Notino, but they're not as cheap anymore. But you can get these for cheaper than you can get the Carolina Herrera. So you can get this cheaper than Amethyst Haze, but you can if they still do it, you can probably get the Bloomerin perfume called Let Me Love You, I think it is, which also smells quite similar to this. There's definitely more patchouli in that one than either of the others, and it's in a cool white bottle, kind of tear-shaped, opaque white bottle, and it does smell quite similar to Jose. So that might be at this point the most affordable version of any of this kind of smell, but I do think it's lovely. I found it super comforting and cozy. I had this on yesterday, actually on Friday, because I knew I was going to a pub with like a big open fire to have a drink with my friend, and I was like, yeah, let's go cozy. I need something cozy. It was a grey day, a bit rainy, and then it was, yeah, like I said, really humid. So, but I can totally wear this perfume at all different times of year, because it's just cozy and comfy and lush. So the last thing to talk about, have I got any left? Oh, there's hardly anything left now. I've had this little Jimmy Choo Fever sample for ages, and I've always kept this the same way I kept the illicit one, to come back and try it every now and again to see whether I liked it enough to get a full bottle. I did with illicit. I enjoyed that one enough that I actually went on, I think on eBay, I got a partial bottle. I'm just looking over now. Yeah, I got a partial bottle from eBay. So Fever, I wanted to try it again because I saw one on Tino, like a 40ml bottle of Fever for, I think it was in their special, so it was probably like one that had been returned, and it was about £20. So I thought, I'm gonna give this one a go again. Yeah, this one, it's okay. It's not really for me. It's not my favourite. I do think it's pretty, but I also think it doesn't. I think it smells a little bit slightly generic, slightly chemically, and realistically, nearly every Jimmy Choo perfume I've ever smelt smells really chemically to me. Illicit has a touch of that chemically smell, but it's got so much other lovely stuff going on in it that I kind of was like, I'll just deal with it, because the more it dried down, the less chemically it smelled. But this one still smells a little bit chemically to me, and a little bit generic. But it is really pretty at the same time. And I think the nicest thing about this is there's a lot of plum in it. So top notes, plum, lychee and grapefruit. Middle notes of heliotrope, vanilla orchid, jasmine and orange blossom. Base notes, tonka bean, vanilla, benzoin, coffee, hazelnut and sandalwood. And yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it smells just like black opium, because again, I don't think it has a powerful patchouli, which I think there is, like, I really notice the patchouli in all of those black opium perfumes. But also I don't think the orange blossom is like the strongest note here necessarily, in the same way I find the orange blossom and sometimes the jasmine as well to be like super strong in black opium. So I'm not mad for black opium. It's like not one of my favorite scents at all. And this one I think is a much more approachable, easier to wear version of that kind of smell, but it's just not really for me. So I gave it another go just to see whether I would come round to it again, and I'm cool. I don't need a bottle of this one, but it's super pretty. It's just not really my style, I think is the way to say that. It's not a bad perfume at all. It's a pretty good value one, actually. I think that's everything this week, guys. I can't even remember what I've got coming up, but I need to make loads of videos. I am very happy. I'm just going to mention this actually quickly. I haven't worn this one yet. Well, let me just grab it. I haven't worn the actual spray bottle yet, but I need to make a video about Perfume Parlour. So Perfume Parlour are a dupe house that's UK based. I hopefully they will send stuff all over the world, but I got some samples from them ages ago, and I got Elder Lolita. They do a dupe of Elder Lolita, and I was really excited about it, and I wanted to speak to you guys about how awesome it was. And then I went back on the site to buy a bigger bottle, and they didn't have it. It all sold out, but it just arrived back. It just came back. So I got myself this, I think, is this like a 13ml or something? Yeah, 13ml bottle, extremely affordable. I think it was about £12 or something. I think it's only like £16, maybe less. Maybe this was £8. I can't even remember, but it's so cheap. It's amazingly good value. And this is a great dupe, as far as I can tell anyway. It smells like the notes from Elder Lolita. If you know what Lyra smells like, this is a more interesting version of Lyra. That's like, or Lyra is a simplified version of Elder Lolita. This is creamy and lemony. It's got a slightly seasidey vibe, and it's got like a really interesting kind of green floral vibe as well. But anyway, if you want to get samples and stuff, you can. This is not sponsored. I bought all of these. But yeah, I actually found a dupe house that I like. And I've tried loads of dupe houses, and I don't talk about them because they're nearly always super synthetic, full of aroma chemicals. Perfume Parlour, not so. They do really good dupes. So yeah, I'm going to make a big video because I've got a ton of dupes from them now. Little samples anyway, but this is the first one I've bought an actual bottle of. So delicious. I've got lots of like sweet, creamy, vanillic lemons, and like this is actually, I think, bitter orange. But in that general kind of orangey, lemony, citrusy vanillas, like I've got quite a few now, so I didn't need a massive bottle. But anyway, I just wanted to mention it because if you are interested and you want to go and grab them, then they've got them back in stock, and I think it's quite popular, so I don't know how long they'll have it in stock for. But yeah, so totally awesome. This is it's been a lovely week. I've really enjoyed it pretty much, with the exception of the Jimmy Choo one, which I was really just testing out to see if I really did enjoy it. I think I only wore it and like in the morning until I had my shower. But like, totally lovely, delicious, tasty week. I will be back next week. Let me know what you've been wearing. Let me know if you have any of these, and I shall, yeah, like I said, I'll be back on Sunday. We'll see if it actually gets cold, because it's Halloween this week. I need to wear something Halloweeny. I mean, come on. Anyway, bye guys.